You know, if you think about life in a boarding house, it's really a world built on routines, isn't it? You've got the morning wake-ups, the shared meals, those study sessions, and then finally, lights out. Now, on their own, each of these little actions might seem kind of mundane, but when you put them all together, they are quietly, day by day, shaping the young people who live there. And it's that process, that quiet shaping of character that we're going to dive into today. So, this might seem like a bit of a strange connection, right? What could a sports icon, a legendary basketball coach, possibly have in common with a residential school? Well, as it turns out, the philosophy of the incredible UCLA coach John Wooden gives us this powerful framework for understanding exactly what makes a boarding education so incredibly impactful. Okay, so to really get this connection, we first have to kind of throw out our normal definition of success. See, for John Wooden, it was never, ever just about the final score on the scoreboard. It was always about something much, much deeper. Just look at the focus here. It's not on winning, it's on effort. It's not about what other people think, it's about internal satisfaction. It's all about knowing deep down that you gave it your absolute all. And believe me, this one simple shift in perspective, it's the key to everything else we're going to talk about. So how does that idea play out in a boarding house? Well, success isn't about having a student who never, ever breaks a rule. Not at all. It's about their growth. It's about seeing that student become a little more independent, start managing their own time better, figuring out how to navigate those tricky friendships, and crucially, learning how to bounce back from a setback. Because a boarding house isn't some factory for perfect students. It's a real-world environment for development. Wooden built his whole philosophy around something he called the pyramid of success. And just like any strong pyramid, it has to start with a rock-solid foundation. And this is where all those small, everyday routines become so incredibly important. We're talking about the fundamental building blocks here. Things like just showing up on time, making your bed properly, coming to study hall actually ready to work, and treating the shared spaces with a bit of respect. Now, they might seem like really minor things, but these are the non-negotiables. This is the bedrock of the entire community. And this right here, this is the key insight. For young people who are living away from home, maybe for the first time, these consistent little habits provide this essential sense of stability and predictability. They create a safe, structured world that, believe it or not, actually allows students to feel secure enough to take bigger risks and to really grow. All right, so let's move up the pyramid from that foundation and look at the core structure. For Wooden, the absolute heart of his model, the thing that gives it all of its strength, is character. You know, a boarding house is such a unique place for this to happen because values aren't just things you discuss in a classroom, they're things you have to live out 24/7. Character gets forged when a student has to own up to a mistake, learns how to give a real, sincere apology, chooses to be honest even when it's the harder path, and acts with integrity even when they think nobody is watching. And this brings us to such a crucial distinction. See, confidence that's built without a solid foundation of character, it's fragile, it's brittle, it can completely shatter at the first real challenge. But confidence built on that bedrock of character, oh, that's resilient. That is the kind of deep self-assurance that truly lasts a lifetime. Of course, none of this just happens in a vacuum. The adults in the community, the staff, the leaders, they play a vital role. But their role isn't to be some kind of controller. It's to be an architect, or as John Wooden would say, a coach. John Wooden always said he saw himself as a teacher first and a coach second. And in a boarding environment, this means you're guiding students instead of micromanaging their every single move. It means you're correcting a mistake in a way that actually teaches a lesson rather than humiliates someone. And it means you're constantly celebrating the effort, not just the perfect result. So what's the glue that holds this whole approach together? It's consistency. When the adults respond calmly and predictably, time after time, it lowers anxiety for the students, and it creates this deep-seated feeling of fairness. You know, even when students are testing the limits, they feel safer just knowing where those boundaries are. And ultimately, it's that consistency that builds real, lasting trust. Okay, so we've built our foundation with habits, we've strengthened the core with character, and we have the architects there guiding the whole process. Now we finally arrive at the top of the pyramid, the ultimate purpose of it all. But it's so important to remember that this kind of growth isn't some dramatic, overnight transformation. It happens quietly. It happens through the steady, patient repetition of all these small actions, term after term, year after year, It's a slow, steady build. And in the end, that's the real point. Boarding houses, when you look at them through John Wooden's philosophy, they aren't just preparing students for their next big test or their final exams. They are building a foundation of habits and a core of character that prepares them for all the challenges and all the opportunities that life is going to throw their way. So here's the final thought. John Wooden's pyramid of success isn't really something new that you need to bring into a boarding house. The structure, the habits, the constant opportunities for character building, they are already there. They are baked into the system. The real question is for the leaders and educators working within it. Do they see the power of what they're building, and are they guiding that process with real intention?